In the underground facilities of a morgue, a chief pathologist complains about how dirty the place is and orders his assistant to pour some chemicals down the drain because, according to him, they are only full of dust. The assistant, horrified because this is illegal, refuses, but the chief threatens to fire him, so he ends up pouring the bottles into the sewer. Over time, people begin to notice strange creatures in the lake, although no one worries about the possible consequences. A depressed office worker plans to commit suicide by jumping into the river, but before doing so, he sees a huge shadow in the water. Although his coworkers do not notice the danger, he says goodbye to them and jumps. Gangdu, the son of the owner of a small business, is a lazy young man who always falls asleep. His father, Hibong, demands that he wake up and attend to the customers. Despite being considered useless, Gangdu deeply loves his daughter Hyun, although she, like everyone else, does not trust him. Both of them watch on television Namju, Gangdu's sister and national archery champion, competing for first place. Suddenly, the broadcast is interrupted with news of the suicide victim who was found dead in the river, but half of his body is missing, as if something had devoured it. Hibong orders his son to return to work, since the customers are complaining. Gangdu goes out to deliver orders, but notices that everyone is watching something in the river, a strange creature under the bridge. The animal moves and falls into the water. People approach out of curiosity, and Gangdu throws a beer can at the creature, which catches it and takes it underwater. Everyone begins throwing trash as well, until the creature disappears. When Gangdu is about to leave, he sees that the monstrous creature has come out onto the shore and begins to brutally attack the crowd, running them over and throwing them into the river. Gangdu tries to warn them but is knocked down by the beast, which then heads toward a tent full of people, devouring them all. An American soldier tries to stop the monster along with Gangdu, but the creature escapes, leaving behind a bloodbath. They chase the monster without success. The soldier is seriously injured. Gangdu tries to hit the monster without causing it harm and barely manages to escape. Hyun goes out to look for her father, but realizes that everyone has disappeared. Gangdu grabs her to flee, but in the middle of the chaos, he realizes that he took the wrong person. When he turns around, he sees the creature taking his daughter away. The monster jumps into the river and swims to the other side. Gangdu tries to follow it, but can only watch helplessly as the creature disappears with Hyun. The army arrives to cordon off the area, and in an improvised shelter, families cry for their dead. Namil, Hyun's uncle, arrives devastated. As the family embraces, reporters surround them and take photos mercilessly. A man dressed in a biosecurity suit interrogates those who had contact with the creature. Although at first no one dares to speak, some eventually raise their hand, among them Gangdu, fearing reprisals. Shortly afterward, more personnel in yellow suits invade the shelter to quarantine the families. Despite his pleas, Gangdu is taken away by force. It is revealed that the American soldier who helped Gangdu survived, but became ill due to a virus carried by the creature. Because of this, the government withdraws the military and sends in special biological control teams. At the same time, Gangdu and his family arrive at the hospital, surprised to see that not even the doctors are wearing masks. That night, they receive a phone call. When he answers, Gangdu recognizes his daughter's voice, but the signal cuts off before he can find out where she is. Meanwhile, the monster continues attacking people, killing the quarantine workers and taking them to its lair in the sewers, where it stores them as food. Hyun manages to slip through a drain and discovers a worker whom the monster left there, but the man has drowned. While checking his body, she finds a phone, although it is unusable after having been submerged in the water. At the hospital, Gangdu tries to convince the police that his daughter is still alive, but they believe he is crazy and ask for him to be psychiatrically evaluated. Fearing that Hyun may begin to starve, the family tries to escape from the hospital. However, they are immediately recognized because of Gangdu's dyed hair. They run toward the elevator and reach the parking lot, where some gangsters are waiting for them with a vehicle. They manage to escape, although at a high price. The gangsters demand all their money and even their credit cards in exchange for weapons and an official vehicle to use as a disguise. When they reach a police checkpoint, they try to go unnoticed, but a captain recognizes them. Hibong bribes the officer with the little money they have left. The family begins searching for Hyun through all the sewers they find on the maps, but the area is enormous and they have no clues. Namil complains that they are searching blindly, but his sister tells him that they have no other choice. Suddenly, they notice movement and prepare to shoot. Namju feels something fall on her from the ceiling and they open fire, only to discover that it was a false alarm. However, two boys run out, narrowly avoiding being hit by the gunfire. The boys, two homeless brothers, hide and then decide to steal food from Gangdu's business. The younger one, Siju, also wants to take money, but his older brother tells him that they should only take what is necessary to survive. As they leave with the bags full, they see the monster emerging from the bridge and flee toward the shelter, closely pursued by the creature. Meanwhile, Hibang returns to the shop and sees that the doors have been forced open, but he does not give it any importance. The family has dinner imagining that Hyun is with them. Hyun, for her part, tries to survive by drinking water from the sewer, but when she sees the monster approaching, she plays dead. The creature throws out the bodies of the children it had captured, and Hyun realizes that the younger brother is still alive. She decides to protect him at all costs. Gangdu watches the monster from a distance in front of his shop. He tries to shoot it, but misses. The monster attacks, pushes the structure, and overturns it while Hibang continues shooting without success. When the monster seems injured, the family comes out to finish it off, but the beast flees toward the river. With no ammunition left, Hibang is left alone with the last bullet. He asks his son to move away while the monster swims toward them. Namju tries to stop it with her arrows. Hibang fires, but Gangdu had miscalculated and the weapon was empty. The old man tells them to run, but the creature grabs him by the leg and brutally kills him before the helpless eyes of his family. Gangdu throws himself onto his father's body crying, but the police are already approaching. He tells his siblings to flee and takes care of covering his father's face with a newspaper before being captured. That night, Namil seeks help at the telephone company where a friend works. Together they manage to trace Hyun's last call, but the friend betrays Namil, reporting him to the police to collect the reward. Namil turns off the lights, locks his pursuers inside, and escapes from the building, although the police chase him. During his escape, he jumps under a bridge and manages to hide. Before fainting from the fall, he sends a message to his sister with Hyun's location. Namju receives the message and runs toward the sewer where her niece is. As she approaches the bridge, she calls Gangdu to warn him. However, before arriving, the monster rams into her and throws her into a canal, where luckily she remains out of the beast's reach. Gangdu, still in the hospital, tries to escape, but the doctors subject him to painful experiments. There he hears a researcher reveal that the supposed virus does not exist, and that the government invented it to cover up the monster's real origin. Upon hearing this, they decide to lobotomize Gangdu to silence him. Meanwhile, Hyun comforts the boy she is protecting, encouraging him to think about what they will eat when they manage to escape. Using the victim's clothes and a police baton, she makes an improvised rope and manages to create a ladder. But before she can use it, the monster returns, forcing them to hide. From their hiding place, they watch in horror as the creature vomits the bones of its victims. When it tries to capture them, the children hide inside the walls. Gangdu takes a doctor hostage and escapes from the hospital. Outside, he discovers that the police are relaxing and grilling meat as if nothing were happening. He steals a vehicle by threatening to kill the doctor and heads toward his daughter's hiding place. Namil wakes up after being rescued by a homeless man, whom he convinces to help him fight the monster. Together, they make Molotov cocktails and prepare to face it. Hyun, in hiding, notices that the boy is getting sick. When she sees that the monster is sleeping, she tries to reach the rope, but the creature catches her and throws her back to the ground. When she sees the boy outside the hiding place, Hyun runs to protect him while the monster chases them. Gangdu arrives at the nest, where he finds only bones and remains. Just then, he sees the monster pass by with an arm hanging from its mouth. He runs after it along with his sister, who has recovered. The monster swims toward a group of demonstrators protesting against the quarantine and the illegal experiments. Upon seeing the creature, the crowd flees in terror. The police open fire while the army prepares a special chemical, which they release on the beast, leaving it stunned. Gangdu runs toward the creature, and manages to pull from inside it the body of his daughter, still clinging to the boy she was trying to protect. He then understands that Hyun had died a long time ago. The family cries inconsolably upon seeing her lifeless body. Gangdu, furious, grabs a metal bar and attacks the monster. Namil throws the Molotov cocktails without hitting it. The homeless man manages to spray gasoline on the beast. Namju, with a flaming arrow, shoots and engulfs the monster in flames. In the midst of the chaos, the creature tries to flee to the river, but Gangdu, hidden, pierces it with the metal bar, killing it as the fire consumes it. Seeing that the boy is still alive, Gangdu takes him in his arms and carries him away while he looks at the disaster left behind. Some time later, Gangdu has adopted the boy, and they live together in the shop by the river. While they have dinner, they watch on the news how the government is being criticized for what happened. Outside, the snow begins to fall, announcing the arrival of winter.